Oh, well, hey there, everybody. Today on Waffle Ladders, we're going to talk about Abraham Lincoln. The man, the myth, the president with a hat so tall it had its own time zone. We all know the story. John Wilkes Booth, the theater, a dramatic exit, and America's worst plot twist. What if I told you the whole thing is full of weird, head-scratching, wait, what moments? Think you know what happened? I'll bet you don't. Here are 10 reasons why the Lincoln assassination story makes absolutely no sense. Let's climb the ladder. Number 10, the missing guard. Let's start with a seemingly simple question. Where was Lincoln's bodyguard, John Parker, the policeman assigned to guard the presidential box at Ford's Theater? He mysteriously vanished during the crucial moments of the play. Where was he? A bar. Seriously, he just left to grab a brewski. His absence obviously left Lincoln vulnerable to attack. Was this just negligence or something more sinister? Did someone want Lincoln unprotected? Number 9, Lincoln's box at Ford's Theater. You'd think the President of the United States would have some pretty serious security, right? Well, not so much. The story goes that Booth, a famous actor, snuck into the box without being noticed, was then able to put a wooden plank against the door to block people from entering, and then shoot Lincoln, who was mere feet away, before being noticed by any of the 4 occupants. Booth then supposedly stabbed Major Rathbone, who was the only other man in the box with Lincoln. He then leaped over the wall of the stage, breaking his leg in the process, and then scrambled out of the theater to begin his 12-day run from the law. This scenario seems almost unbelievable. How could one man pull this off and get away so easily? I mean, how fast could you run after breaking a leg? Tanner, what are you doing? What are you doing?
I'm acting out as getaway.
Why are you acting out as getaway?
You know, for dramatic effect.
Dramatic effect. All right, fine. Just chill out. Number 8, Booth's magic broken leg. So Booth breaks his leg leaping from the box. But then, poof, he's suddenly parkouring his way across the countryside, escaping like a villain in a Marvel movie. He ran, hid, rode horses, all with a broken leg? I mean, I once pulled a muscle and considered it a legitimate reason to avoid stairs for a week. But I guess this guy must have had superpowers. Maybe bitten by a radioactive spider? Who knows? Or did he have help? All right. Enough with the dramatic whatever you're doing. Go back to your chair.
Making sure they got the points.
Oh, they got the point, all right. All right. Number 7, the doctor who treated Booth. After shooting Lincoln, Booth, broken leg and toe, sought treatment from Dr. Samuel Mudd, who was later convicted of conspiracy. But Mudd claimed he had no idea who Booth was. Was he an innocent doctor caught in a web of intrigue, or was he a willing accomplice to the assassination? And strangely enough, or maybe not, Mudd was granted a pardon and released from jail after a few short years in prison. This pardon came from President Andrew Jackson. He was released for treating some patients in prison. I don't know, but if you helped kill the president, I think you needed a little more than that to get a little early release, right? What do you think? Number 6, Booth's diary mystery. When Booth was finally killed, the government found his diary. Was it in the study with Colonel Mustard by the candlestick? No, it was in his jacket. Seriously, he carried it around with him like a teenage girl. But here's a strange thing. Pages were torn out and missing. Oh, and not just a few pages. A large chunk of the book was gone. The official explanation? Oh, we don't know who took them. Really? The most famous assassin's diary just happens to lose pages, which might explain his motives and maybe accomplices, but you can't find it? Sure, that's not suspicious at all. Were they removed to protect someone involved in the investigation or to hide a larger conspiracy? Number 5, the Secretary of War's strange behavior. Secretary of War Edwin Stanton was in charge of the investigation into Lincoln's assassination. unusual as he had been the one to deny Lincoln his request of an Army major to act as his bodyguard that night at the theater. And get this, Stanton didn't arrest or even interview Parker, the bar-hopping bodyguard. Weird, right? And his initial dispatch to teams conducting the search for the killer didn't even mention Booth's name, even though he was famous. And it was sent 4 hours after the shooting. Yeah, that's the type of urgency I'd use for a dead president. He even refused help from other countries trying to deport key suspects back to the States on more than one occasion. Was he trying to protect someone? Perhaps himself? Or was he simply incompetent? Stanton's behavior raises more questions than it answers. Number 4, the multiple shooters theory. While Booth was the one who pulled the trigger, some witnesses claim to have seen multiple shooters in the theater that night. Could Booth have been part of a larger conspiracy? The conflicting accounts leave room for doubt and fuel the flames of there being much more to this story. Remember that there were 9 people put on trial as co-conspirators, so there were probably more than that involved. Was Booth just the tip of the iceberg? Number 3, the government's quick cover-up. In the aftermath of the assassination, the government seemed more interested in quickly closing the case than in conducting a thorough investigation. The body of Booth was not identified by anyone who knew him, and then was disposed of quickly. No one in the box with Lincoln was interviewed by authorities, and only one of the 3 testified at trial. And that was the man, and he just read a statement. He didn't answer any questions. Was the government trying to hide something? Oh, did I mention that it took only 3 months to put 4 of the co-conspirators to death by hanging? Right downtown DC. And just why did the conspirators seem to have such groovy mugshots? Another mystery. Justice delayed is justice denied. Or so they say. Number 2, the Booth escape route. So try and track this. Booth, with a broken leg, Tanner, don't you move, managed to escape out the back of Ford's Theater and evade capture for 12 days. But his escape route was riddled with inconsistencies and unlikely events. The area was flooded with soldiers, yet he slipped through. He was granted passage across the river, even with a complete shutdown of river traffic. How did that happen? We don't know. And don't forget that broken leg. Who helped him? And how was Booth locked in a barn when the locks were found to be on the inside? Stranger and stranger. The circumstances surrounding the escape remain a total mystery, which all leads to the biggest mystery of all. Number 1, Booth's gun. John Wilkes Booth's choice of a single-shot derringer to assassinate President Lincoln is the most baffling detail of the event. He brought 1 bullet to kill the president. This doesn't exactly scream mastermind criminal. Think about this. He was breaching a crowded theater with at least 2 levels of expected security, and he only brought 1 bullet? It is a proven fact that Booth had access to many multi-shot weapons and was actually quite wealthy. So why choose that weapon? This suggests he was either incompetent or perhaps the whole narrative is one big cover-up. One thing is for sure, we will never know the whole truth, unless seances really work. So there you have it, the top 10 things that don't make sense about the Lincoln assassination. What do you think? Are these just historical anomalies, or is there something more to this story? Was John Wilkes Booth who they say he was? Or was he part of an even bigger conspiracy? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe if you think we might. And as always, keep climbing. And in the morning, I'm making waffles.